Hello. Today, we'd like to talk to you about using the tennis ball machine correctly. This video will be divided in three parts. First, what do we do before the first ball is hit? Secondly, what do we do between the first ball and the last ball? And finally, after the last ball is hit. First, we want to use the ball machine and we have to reserve it. We can use the app on Court Reserve on your phone, or if it's not installed, you can go to the club website on the private side to go to and click on Court Reserve tab. On Court Reserve, there is an option for ball machine. That is where we still reserve the ball machine for a maximum of 1 hour. And I would like to advise to you is that never reserve just after the ball machine is used, and it will not be charged enough for you to play on. Always a minimum of 1 hour between usages. After reservations, confirmation of the reservation, you can go and get the key from the office. This is the key. There is a remote control that is there, and there is a reminder of the buttons you may use as you use the ball machine. We are now in front of the court. Once we have in our hand the key, the control, and the sheet, we're going to go and get the ball machine. We use the key, unlock the padlock. We always have to remind her that to put the padlock back on because otherwise we may lose it. We get the ball machine out. It's like a stroller, so it has two wheels. You take the cover off and always remember to take the charger off the machine because it will not work properly with the charger on. Now, once it's done, we take the ball machine and we go in the middle of the court. The ball machine, it's easy. We can put other places, but the best part is in the middle of the court, about 1 to 2 meters in front of the fence. What I do with the paper, I unclip it and I put it under the wheel so we will not lose it and it will not go in the wind. Now I have the remote in my hand and it is really helpful because this is the tool you use to start and stop the machine. The big ball is just not to forget it in your pocket. Now let's see how the machine works. We are now at the first ball. It's part number 2. Let's start the machine. We push the big button. We also have the 3 buttons and the small toggle. The first thing that we have to know is the first button is the speed. But before that, we start the machine and the rollers will engage. You want to use the remote to stop the feeder. Now, because I want you to hear me well, I'm going to stop the machine so we can discuss about the buttons. First button at the top is a button that regulates the speed. That means how fast the ball is going towards you. The second button is the one who controls spin. That means you can have top spin or back spin. The third button is how many balls per minute will be tossed towards you. The rule of thumb is that you put everything at noon. That means first one is at 5, the speed. The second one is at 0, the spin. And the third one is at 5. But I do recommend usually for starters to put it at 3 or 4 as you will get time between balls to prepare yourself. Once the buttons are set, let's go to the other side. This machine can throw the ball higher or lower. The lever does just that. This lever can be put at 10, which the ball will be very, very low. And I can put it at 1, and the ball will make a very high lob. Of course, the higher the ball is going, the less speed is needed for the ball to fall at the same place. So now let's bring it back to 9, about 8 or 9. And this is usually the right height for a beginner player to take the ball on the other side. Now, before we start, let's review. I have put the top one at 5 for speed, 0 for spin, and 3-4 for feed. And this will help us do what we need. Let's see. Now, I will start the machine. There are 2 buttons on the remote. The blue button is for the ball to start to be thrown towards me. And if I push it again, it'll stop the feed. I do not want to start while I'm here and I to push the blue button. And once I'm at the other side of the court, then I can ask for the buttons to be put. The second one is the green. The green is for the feeder to throw balls side to side alternatively. But if you're listening to this video, you don't want to touch the green because you just want the ball to go straight so you can practice your shots, your basic shots. Now let's start the machine. We see well the ball thrown. It's a little strong, so I'm going to put it back a little bit because that means the speed is too fast. Probably at 4 will be better. Now we can see that the balls are hitting the court shorter. So for a beginner, this is a proper setting. You can also go at the net and play for volleys. Now, we want to push the button, so it's going to start. Norm, come here, please. Now the machine is stopped, and you can verify it so that the brushes. Now it's started again, and now I'm going to stop it again. And you see, when it's not rotating, the machine is stopped and the ball will not go out. Now I will put the angle a lot higher so I can show you what a lob looks like. I'm going to slow down the speed, otherwise the ball will go right in the fence. So as you can see now, the ball is about 4 or 5 meters high. And it hits a middle section of the court on the other side. So it's really nice lobs. When I stop with the remote, I hear a little beep on the remote. But please take care to see if that you're okay and the ball is not coming out again. I've now replaced the height to 8 or 9, and you can go to the net and practice your volley like in doubles play. Now you see the speed now is not enough because the ball is flatter, so you have to increase the speed to 5. So now the ball will be able to pass over top of the net. Okay, now, one thing you should never stop the machine manually before the feed is stopped and confirmed. Because if you don't, what happens is when it's like when you shut off a computer and push the manual button, everything stops not correctly and jams. So there are 2 reasons why the machine will not work for you. The first one is the last person did not charge it. And that's important that you verify that. Usually the little green it would be. If the machine was stopped without closing the feed first, the balls clog up and you will not be able to unclog it. And please do not put your hands in the machine. It's dangerous. So don't forget, never close the ball machine if you haven't stopped the remote. Now we're at part 3. Is what you do when the last ball is hit. First, you take the basket. It's an ingenious contraption. The holes are just smaller than the balls. You just walk and you go tuck, 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 and get all the balls. Now, we have finished with the machine. We take the paper and clip it back on the key. We take the machine and bring it to the cupboard. Before, I will have brought all the balls back in the court. It's important to bring all the balls back and put them back in. First thing you do before putting it in is put the charger back in the hole at the top of the buttons. Secondly, you put the cover back, but be aware not to break the charger wire, because this is always dangerous. We will probably put the charger higher, not on the floor anymore. So once the cover is back, and checked that the wire is not being trampled, I'd like to put the rolling suitcase near to the door, and when you feel a resistance, I just give it an upward lift, and boom, and it's in. Voila. It's really important once it's in that the charger light is red, confirming it is properly working. You can see here the little red, and it will turn green once the charger is completely full. And the next person can use it in about 1 hour. I close the door, lock it, and bring the key back to the office. And it is done. One last thing for the next players on the court, not for the ball machine necessarily, but each time you play tennis, you should clean up the court. Of course, because you played with the ball machine, this side of the court is not trampled, but on the other side, we have 2 brooms, a big broom that you pass on top, and then a second broom, a very little broom for the lines, and you just clean up the lines. It's just a little bit of respect for the next player. Thank you, and goodbye.